Welcome back, and today I'm actually doing my first tier list video, and it's for the 2024 Democrat nominees for president based on electability. So starting off for Hillary Clinton, this shouldn't be too much of a surprise. She would lose against most Republicans, and she would just do better, and she would help Democrats outside of politics instead of running in 2024, and she wouldn't be the right candidates at all for the Democrats. Well, for the next one, for Elizabeth Warren. So for Warren, she doesn't bring that much to the table. She's from a deep blue state of Massachusetts, and her approval is always a bit meh, and not that much. Apart from that, just like, simply put, there's just better candidates out there in this list, and I think that's it for the F tier. Let's go to the next one. Let's start off for, where is she at? For AOC. So AOC, I think 2024 would just not be her year at all. I think she will run in the future at some point, but in my opinion, for her to move up into the C tier, she would need to probably become a senator in order to have a better chance of winning, but simply put, it's just way too early for her. And now for yeah, let's just go with Cory Booker. For 2024, he would do better than AOC, but he is way more of a VP pick, and even then he wouldn't be that great of a VP pick. I think he could rebound in the future. I think his star kind of did dip down after 2020, but it could actually come up in the future, but for now, I think he just doesn't have it. And for the next one, for Gavin Newsom. So after 2022, I think he kind of lost his mandate, as seen by the fact that he single-handedly, by not campaigning as much, cost the Democrats a couple of House seats. And I also think the establishment Democrats and the donors that were looking for him to run in 2024, after that awful performance, will likely just go to another candidate. I think in 2020, those people were really rooting for people to judge. 2022 was Gavin Newsom, and then who knows what's gonna happen in 2024. But yeah, Gavin Newsom, it's not looking good for him at the moment. For the next one, who is a meh candidate for the Democrats, Eric Adams. Eric Adams, he's, I mean, as personality-wise, he's kind of funny, I won't lie, but in politics, he just would need 2024 to be a kind of favorable year for the Democrats if he somehow becomes a presidential pick, but mayor to president is quite rare, and Eric Adams just doesn't have the approval ratings. And let's go, so for Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg almost became the nominee in 2020. I think if Biden hadn't ran in 2020, the establishment would have gone for Pete Buttigieg almost certainly. I think he does win states like Michigan, but the issue for him is that because of his orientation, states like Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, they would probably go Republican. Sadly, because of that, he would basically have to rely 100% on the Rust Belt to have a chance to win, and I don't see him doing too well in the future, and I think he would probably lose. It would still be bit closer compared to other people, but still, he would still lose by probably like a small margin. And for another 2020 candidate, for Kamala Harris. So Harris, she does laugh a lot and has a lot of personality, but in politics, her approval ratings are still not rock bottom, but they're still way too low for a vice president. And the only way she would have a chance is if something happens to Biden and she becomes incumbent president for like 3 years or something like that. But even then, the issue for her is that she's in the opposite of the Goldilocks zone that, you know, candidates like DeSantis, Josh Shapiro are at. It's basically the anti-Goldilocks zone because progressives see her as being too much of the establishment, while establishment Democrats see her as being too much of a progressive. So yeah, it's a big issue for her, and that wouldn't look good for 2024. And now for the C tier. And now we're getting to that point where the Democrat nominees, I think, would win with some certainty. And for Amy Klobuchar, she does have some issues, especially workplace issues, but she is from Minnesota and would almost, I think she would probably win Wisconsin, and Wisconsin is key for the Republicans to have a chance, and if we see blue Wisconsin 2024, it's basically wraps at that point. I think Amy Klobuchar, if she picks someone good, I don't know, I'm guessing someone like Raphael Warnock or like Mark Kelly, she would probably win by a decent margin. And I think she would still win, of course, but I do reckon that there will be better candidates for the Democrats, and yeah, she's at the end of the C tier level. And now for Tony Evers, the issue for Tony Evers is that his age is his biggest issue. I think that he would, I will say this, he would be a dark horse candidate for a VP pick from like someone like Kamala Harris. I think she would maybe do that, like Kamala Harris, Tony Evers ticket, or something like I don't know, like AOC. But Tony Evers, simply put, his age would just not be that big of an asset, and it would really deter a lot of voters. And I still think he would win Wisconsin. And for a big one, for the next, I think two could really switch sides and just flip. For Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders would have the similar issue to what Tony Evers had. I think age is a big factor in 2024, and nominating someone that is in their 70s would not be a good sign for the Democrats, except if it's Biden, because of the incumbency power that presidents have. That's the only time that Democrats should go for someone older. Bernie Sanders, I think in 2016, he should have been the nominee for the Democrats, and he would have been the S tier level. But now, I think he's just too old. But still, he does have some progressive views that would work in the Rust Belt. And as long as that he runs a good campaign with a decent, more establishment VP pick, which funnily enough would probably be Amy Klobuchar, he would still have a decent shot at someone like Donald Trump. If it's DeSantis, then basically anyone, I think only people like S tier and A tier would have a chance, or maybe B tier. But yeah, let's move on to JB Pritzker. So JB Pritzker, he did underperform in 2022 a tiny bit compared to other Rust Belt Democrats. Oh, wasn't not letting me do that. Okay, so for JB Pritzker, he's the governor of Illinois, by the way, if you didn't know yet. And his main asset is that he has a lot of money, and has sometimes even paid for the expenses by the governorships by the Democrats. I think he paid like 1/3 back in like one trimester ago. That tells you how much he has money, that he just helps other governors or other Democrats who are governors. And my take on JB Pritzker is that he would just make a better VP pick. He would be more of a, this is a really niche reference I'm gonna make, so he would be more of a Arthur Sewell sort of a VP pick. That's an 1896 election reference with William Jennings Bryan and Arthur Sewell, but let's just not talk too much about that. So JB Pritzker, I think he would win the Rust Belt, but he might underperform in other areas, and that's really about it. For the next one, let me see who it is. For Jared Polis, so Jared Polis, even though he would lose states like Georgia, North Carolina, of course, that and those sort of states in the southeast, southeast, I think he would do quite well with a more libertarian sort of people, and he would still win the Southwest. I think he would win Arizona, Nevada still, even though Nevada would be really close. And sadly, because of the fact that, just like Pete Buttigieg, his orientation would deter some voters off, and he would be an okay pick. I think he's just basically right on the dot for many Democrats, and would just be an okay pick. For another Colorado politician, that would be Michael Bennet. So Michael Bennet, he's a senator from Colorado. I think he is a rogue pick for 2024. I don't think he would win the nomination, but just like the other people, he would make a really decent VP pick, and I'm really talking about someone like Mary Peltola. He would be a decent pick for her, but he would bring, Colorado to a safe margin no matter what. He would also probably win in Arizona if I had to make a guess. Personality-wise, he just seems like a pretty friendly guy, and that would help with a lot of voters. And talking about Mary Peltola, for Peltola, I think it's way too early still. She does have a lot of potential in the future, especially if she wins in 2024 in the House. It's because of the fact that, Sarah Palin and Nick Begich basically screwed the GOP over, and I want to see how well Peltola would do in a 1v1 against some okay candidate by the Republicans. And until then, I'm not gonna put her in the B or A tier. I think I'm gonna leave her in the C tier level. States like Arizona would go to the Democrats. Montana, actually, you know, if she runs, that would help John Tester quite a lot in 2024. But that's way too early because of Montana's Native American population, and that's it for the C tier, if I'm not mistaken. So to start off, I think that's it for the first one. Andy Beshear, he's the governor of Kentucky as a Democrat. The main issue for Beshear is that he just has really low name recognition. Not a lot of people know about him. Even a lot of people that know about politics forget about him. But his stances on issues and his past and his approval rating would help the Democrats. But the issue is, just has low name recognition. Still, he does have experience, which does help him barely go into the B tier, in my opinion. And yeah, he does have potential, especially by the way, if he wins in 2023. I have Kentucky governor as still D for now, but yeah, we will see who wins in the Kentucky governor race in a year. Moving on, so we're getting to the swing states and the really good candidates in my opinion. Mark Kelly. So Mark Kelly, if he would be the nominee for the Democrats, I think Nevada and Arizona would immediately go by probably like a lean margin. If Donald Trump is the nominee by the Republicans, you could actually see likely the Arizona, which would be insane. The issue for him is that I'm not too sure how he would do in Georgia. I think Georgia, he could actually lose Georgia, but I think with a decent vice presidential pick, he would win most of the Rust Belt, and he would be a decent candidate after he won in the 2022 midterms. So for Jon Ossoff, he could go behind Mark Kelly, but Jon Ossoff does have a lot of charisma and following, which does help him quite a lot. I mean, there we go. It's kind of a bit like Peltola, where he does lack some experience, and he will do way better in 2028, talking about the future. And Jon Ossoff, he would basically, I think, Georgia would be a high lean state for the Democrats. He would win the Rust Belt almost certainly, I think. And he would also probably win the Southwest, and he would get a record-breaking turnout from millennials and young people, which is why I do have him really high, not high, but in the middle of the pack for the B tier candidates. And who is the next one? So for a candidate that is almost certainly not gonna run, but if she would run, would be a really good sign for the Democrats. Michelle Obama, even though she has said many times in the past she wouldn't run, she would be a really good candidate and would get a lot of Obama supporters to come out and high turnouts for her. She immediately would win states like Georgia, Michigan, I think Nevada as well, barely though, Pennsylvania as well, so she would by de facto win. But we all know she ain't looking to run for president. But I think if Biden is in desperate need to get either rid of Harris or just Harris wants to retire or something, there's a small chance that he will ask Michelle Obama to be his VP pick, but she probably rejects him. But I will say, the only person that Biden could replace Harris and not get a lot of backlash in 2024 would be Michelle Obama. But that's really it for Michelle. And let's go to the high B tier candidates. So Sherrod Brown. Sherrod Brown would do well in the Rust Belt. I think he also has the tactics because of Tim Ryan. I think he would do quite well. Sherrod Brown. He would appeal to a lot of he would know how to appeal to a lot of Obama Trump supporters and would win the Rust Belt, probably by the highest margin compared to all the other candidates. But his main issue is that he does have his seat up for re-election, his Senate seat in 2024, which does drag him out from A tier, in my opinion. I think he would do well in many areas of the country and win big, but he is a bit older. I think he's what? Let me check that out. 70 years old, so a bit of an older candidate, but not 80 years old technically. Yeah, for the last one, this is Probably should have made this video on Wednesday because of the fact that Raphael Warnock. So Warnock is up for re-election. Fun fact, the day I'm recording this is on Tuesday, so this is really risky. If you see an editing at the bottom, something like right here saying that Walker won, then yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a meme timeline. And I should have made this video Wednesday, but I don't have time. So for Raphael Warnock, he would do quite well and would get record-breaking turnout with African Americans, just like Michelle Obama. And see, probably like Georgia would go by either against Trump, I think likely D. He's quite charismatic, not as much as Ossoff, but he does have a lot of experience, and the fact that he has, by experience I mean he has done a lot of bills, he has a lot of stuff that he can, you know, show to the American people that he has tried, and he genuinely he does look like he actually wants to help people in the Senate. And that's it for the B tier. For the A tier candidates, basically the really good candidates, I'm gonna firstly for 2024 Josh Shapiro, his main issue is that he would only be in office for what, 2 years? I mean, even less than 2 years because he probably runs early in the Democratic primaries. But Josh Shapiro, he will destroy in the Rust Belt. He could maybe even be on the same level as Sherrod Brown because of the fact that Josh Shapiro has extremely high charisma, by far the most charismatic candidate on the list, and I actually do have a nickname for him. I do sometimes call him the Obama clone because of how similar his features are to Obama, and due to his charisma he would win quite big. But 2028 is a year he should run. I think 2024 is too early, and in 2028 he would literally carry the Democrats to a victory against almost any candidate, even DeSantis. I think Josh Shapiro would be the strongest candidate by the Democrats in 2028. And yeah, Roy Cooper, so he's the governor of North Carolina, incumbent too, so he has incumbency, which would help Democrats. And if he is the nominee, he would almost certainly give Democrats the state of North Carolina and flip it, which is why I actually do have him. I mean, I'll see if I switch places with another candidate. Not only that, he would win the Rust Belt, I think. He would just need to pick someone like, I don't know, Amy Klobuchar, not Tony Evers, but someone like that, and he would win Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan with an ease, or, you know, a Roy Cooper Whitmer ticket would be quite a hard one. But overall, really good candidates for the Democrats. And for the last one, I think Whitmer, she could either go here or there. The only reason I do have her above Roy Cooper is that she has gotten insane margins in Michigan both times in 2018 and 2022, and her star is rising quite rapidly. Not only that, but if she's the nominee, she would single-handedly maybe even make Michigan likely D, which is insane to think about. And furthermore, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, the Rust Belt would go red. I mean, would go blue. And now kind of makes sense why Biden almost picked her as his running mate, and Whitmer would win against almost any Republican in 2024. And unlike Cooper, she is younger than him, so that would help a lot and bring more young people out to vote. And lastly, as you can see, the last one, the S tier candidates, I will actually have Biden as the S tier candidate, even though, you know, he's 80 years old. By 2024, he's gonna be even older than that. The incumbency power that presidents have is just too much, and not using that power in 2024, it would be a mistake by the Democrats to not use it. And if he's the nominee against Trump, then Biden would probably win by a decent margin. Could even flip North Carolina, which unlike Whitmer, he would be able to flip that race. And overall, Joe Biden, the incumbent president, is the best chance that Democrats have to winning by a margin of 319 electoral votes. That's it, so here's the list. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm trying new things out since election season is over. Expect some campaign trail videos in the future as well, so stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video.